The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Nestle
Welcome
in her lap.
to SinCityBounty,
.com.
broadcasting live from Las Vegas from our fabulous studios at WWDBTV. Oh, they wanted to be kind of sexy?
No. I have a migraine.
Wait, you want to I don't know how sexy was that. She was like, .com. That's how I sound in the morning, though.
Some guys get turned on by that.
Sick cat voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that episode of Friends? When, what's her name, got sick, and so she had that super
Phoebe?
sexy voice?
Yeah, and she was singing Smelly
Kathleen
Cat.
Turner.
I always...
Kathleen, that's right. Kathleen Turner's got one of those dude voices.
The difference is when I get the dude voice, like, it's not in any way sexy. I sound like Large Marge from Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. So I get sick, and most people get, like, that sexy, soothing voice, and mine's like, I'm Large Marge.
I have that deep, heavy voice in the morning before I have coffee.
Yeah. I do, too. My boss has told me many times, she's like, can you go get some caffeine?
I've had plenty of people, men, ask me to stay in bed so they could have sex with me in the morning. So, some guys.
They're into it. Dudes,
Is it for the voice?
You know
They're
what?
like, can you talk to me?
well,
I don't know, because I wouldn't do that. That's one thing I don't do, is I don't talk during sex. So
what has been determined in my life is that there is a dude who is into everything. I don't care. You think of the weirdest sexual fetish you could think of. There's a dude in the world, and probably an entire chat room or Facebook group of dudes who are into that.
in our favorite Facebook group, there was a photo of a Craigslist ad posted of someone who had 400 gallons of gasoline and was willing to trade it for butt sex. 15 gallons for butt sex.
And I didn't think you guys would see my ad, but apparently you did.
Because Toxie takes it in the pooper.
And the ad specified it didn't matter if you were a girl or a boy.
Or a guy.
So he
as long
just
as you were
wanted to-
cute. As long as you were cute.
As long as you were cute.
Just wanted to put it in someone's butt?
Just wanted
Yeah.
butt sex.
Yes.
You know
to
what?
put it in. That's right, to put it in. To
You know
be
how
the
much
giver.
15 gallons of gas is worth these days?
But I
I'm
think
just
this,
saying.
I think this was down.
Bottle of
isn't it in
KY is cheaper.
Houston?
It's somewhere where it's
Where?
only like $30 for 15 gallons, while here in Vegas it's like 40, 45 right
Yeah.
now. Of course, I don't know. We don't know if the ad is real or not, but it was hilarious.
The best Craigslist ad, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, it's made its rounds and it keeps getting pulled like it's legitimately on Craigslist, and they keep pulling it, but it's this guy who wants somebody to come and live with him and be like his live-in girlfriend, and he shows different pictures of his house. He's like, you'll get your own bedroom, you know, you have to cook for me, here's the bathroom, and every photo is like, when you look at it, you're like, somebody was murdered here. And then you click to the next picture and it's a different room and you're like, somebody was murdered here too. and then at the end it was like it's a photo of him and I'm like, that's who did it. Like right there. It's the creepiest looking house. He has like clothespins hanging and contraptions hanging off the clothespins, and I don't know if he's drying baggies or something in his shower, but if you ever come across this ad, he is in Florida, which totally makes sense.
All that weird shit happens in Florida.
It's all in Florida, but
Something wrong with those people.
it's very creepy, and he's
family
like,
there.
I will, I'll pay these bills, and then it says like, and just so you know, with the cable comes like HBO, Cinemax. I have the.
Oh yeah, you definitely got to
this and
upsell
this.
when you have a creepy house and you're trying
Yeah.
to get a roommate. You've
Yes.
got to upsell.
When you are a serial killer shopping for your next victim, be sure to include HBO and Cinemax.
and
Yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Make sure you have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I was sold. I was sold until the part where it's like you can't have kids, you can't have any children, and so I'm like, I'm kind of out, but in 4 years.
For the
I don't
past
know.
3 months or so, Sierra and I have been propositioned that way once a month. from our
Nice.
friend, you know.
Is it like a sister wife scenario?
No,
Like three of you and the-
separately.
Okay.
He starts with me, and then if I go, I laugh at him, and then he goes to her, and then the next month he'll start with her, and then move on to me, and then somebody else, and until someone takes him up on the offer.
So he's gonna keep going until somebody's like, has he thrown in HBO?
Not
He
yet.
has not mentioned HBO or Wi-Fi for that matter, so maybe I'll help him.
Sir, if you're listening, HBO and Wi-Fi.
That's right. We need the passwords.
Locks them in.
No, what I need is like the Stars password and a Cinemax password. Once I got those, I'm good. Oh,
You mean
I'm gonna need HBO
Skinemax,
too.
right?
Don't
Skinemax.
forget Netflix.
Max. They're not as skinny as they are. Not as no. They've never been skinny, but they're not as skin full as they are used to be.
No, but do you remember as a kid if you caught a glimpse of Cinemax late at night and you're like, this is as dirty as it gets, like, oh, I just
and they
saw
didn't even
titties,
show
like,
muff. Like it was
total
just,
softcore
Yeah, it's total
porn.
It was
softcore,
as
yeah.
softcore as it gets. It was just titties. You sometimes didn't even get butt crack. Like
Yeah. No, so I remember back then.
now
like,
we have
being
Game of
younger,
Thrones.
Like this was, hard. This was porn. This must be what hardcore porn is. Like
yeah.
on Cinemax and all that. And now I'm like, let's go. Can we go to
There were
fisting?
plenty of times
or-
where you watch that snowy screen with the squiggly
Yeah.
line,
Squiggly
You
porn
could see it in
page.
there.
and you
Yeah.
would get like a little glimpse of something.
Yeah, you're like,
and
is that a butt? Am
yeah.
I watching a butt?
That's how old we are.
We used to watch undescrambled porn channels.
Although I do remember watching, I was mortified and appalled and all of the words you can put in and, intrigued, as long as we're putting all the words in,
Yeah.
during the one part of Revenge of the Nerds.
When the guy goes down on her?
No, not even that part, where she, like, shows him her boobs or whatever. And then, that was it.
Boobs.
That was it. And I'm like, those are real boobs. Like, I mean, I'm sure they weren't real boobs, but they were
They were
to
80s
someone who had
boobs.
no idea. Like, those were boobs.
Vendetta says, I believe you mean Game of Boners.
Game of boners, yes.
And he did say, we in Florida are proud of our insanity.
It's super crazy down there. There's a Category 5 hurricane headed straight for the tip of Florida right now. And these motherfuckers are like, we'll put some board on the window. We'll be fine. Be like, no, bitch, go to Georgia. Come over here. Like, get the fuck out of your house. You're going to die.
That shit is it's gonna skip across all those islands, so it gets them, and then it's gonna
It's
go
gonna
into
get-
the Gulf and curve back in on
And it's going to get just the tip.
Just the tip. I already warned my little brother that he does live in Florida. He lives in Vero Beach. And I've already told him that I better not find out that your only supplies are beer and tasty cakes. Like the time we had a flood when he lived back home, and he sent me a picture of his trunk full of beer and...
Well, he's single, right?
No, he's married.
Oh,
and-
this is the one that just got married, right?
Yeah, I only
okay.
have one.
Oh, I thought you had two brothers for some reason.
I have a stepbrother.
Oh, okay.
I have
See,
a
you do
stepbrother.
have two
Yeah,
brothers.
I do. I have a
Vendetta, we do hope that you are
Safe, motherfucker, safe.
and leaving.
Get the fuck out of Dodge, yo. I know Alabama sucks a big dick, but they're probably not going to get hit by this one.
Did we just lose all our Alabama fans? Did you just?
I don't give a shit.
I lived in Alabama.
And it sucks a big dick, right?
I think that
It does.
for some-
So bad. Like
I know.
the worst. Like cheesy from under kind of dick. Like the worst dick.
Yeah. I have a friend who is of a very dark African heritage, and his family is from Selma, Alabama. He was telling me some stories about when he went back, because his dad's like a deacon, and it's like been in his family forever. He is so not like. And so he was telling me about one time when he was a teenager, he went back to Selma, Alabama, where the civil rights movement started. And he wanted to walk down to the corner store and grab a bag of chips and a soda. This is in the late 80s, early 90s, right? So he takes his money to the corner store, walks in, gets what he wants, comes up to the counter, goes to pay for it. And the man looks him dead in the eye and he goes, "Son, I know you're not from around here, so I'll let you make this purchase one time here. But next time you got to go across the street. That's your store." I shit you the fuck not, in the 20th century. Alabama sucks a big dick.
Yeah, I mean Alabama it's super humid. The area where I lived had Walmarts on every street. Like every corner was like Walmart Supercenter though. So I don't know if that helps. I lived in a dry county. We got tornadoes.
How long did you live there?
I was only there for a few months and I was done. I was done. My very first tornado, my ex-stepfather, the sirens are going off and I'm screaming. I'm like, we don't have a basement. What do? We have to like run to a church. We have to get in their basement. And he's like, no, just sit here and put on TV. And I'm like, but there's a tornado. And he's like, don't worry about it. And I'm getting my brother and sister, and we had a laundry room in the center, and I'm like, which room has no windows? And I'm getting them up on the washer and dryer, and we're all in there like, okay, we're gonna stay here. And eventually I had to go to work, and so my ex-stepdad drove me to work, and he dropped me off, and he goes to pull out, and he stops the car, and I'm like, oh, why did he stop the? Oh fuck. And a twister tore down right down the highway there.
Missed you by that much?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Tornadoes are no fucking joke. Tornadoes are one of those ones, like a hurricane we can kind of predict, but tornadoes and earthquakes are the two motherfuckers you can't predict. Like, you might know, like, this is the weather that will produce a tornado, but you don't know if it's actually gonna or not, and there's no scientific, like, at this point, right here on the map is when a tornado starts and where it's going to go.
If you hear, you become desensitized. If you hear the sirens a lot, like that's what had happened with him. It happens often. He lives in an area that's pretty popular for it.
What was the warning length of time from the sirens to the tornado?
They start as soon as the weather is right for a tornado. They start the sirens, and the sirens will go on and on until the weather is no longer right for. Right.
So it'll keep going. I mean, it was a long time. Like I had enough time that we hid for quite some time.
Your alarms could go off so often that you would just ignore them.
You would just ignore, and that's basically what he did.
Hours at a time too, not just like. You get a warning, time to get to the basement. You don't hear anything else. The sirens are going off the entire time the weather problem is. I grew up in Texas and Oklahoma, right in the middle of Tornado Alley.
Oh well, my area was called Tornado Alley too.
Yeah, it's a whole swath of the plains because they're so flat. They're the perfect area for tornadoes to form. It's why we don't get tornadoes here because we live in a bowl. Our mountains protect us. But it's a whole. It starts in.
Sounded like me for a minute there.
Yeah, it starts in the Gulf of Mexico, right in Texas, and it's about 2 or 3 states wide, and it goes all the way up to Ohio.
Yeah, well, it was crazy. Like
it's insane.
I worked at a hotel, so we had people coming to stay there. So all night we became like a kind of like a shelter and giving people rooms, but there was a apartment complex that their clubhouse, like they watched it lift and crash it back down. It dropped it, and then we drove past. There's like an auto zone that it just ripped one whole wall off, like the side of the building, and it's amazing how
random
it hits. Yeah, it's so random, and it hits, and then this area is perfect, nothing, and if it kind of moves around.
What kind of procedures are in place to help protect you from these kinds of natural disasters?
So you need there's 3 ways to protect yourself in a tornado, and none of them are fail-safe. So the first one is to have a storm shelter, and that's usually underground, and it's got concrete walls and a concrete roof. But some people don't have that. All they have is an old root cellar or just a house built over a hole.
That's the one in all the movies.
Yeah, the old root cellar is the one in all the movies. So some sort of underground shelter. The next one is the most central point in your home that has no windows. And most of the houses out there are built with a bathroom in the middle of the house.
Just because of that.
And you get in the tub and you put your mattress over the top.
Yeah, that's the other thing they tell you is to get in the tub, and exactly that. And if you have no other option, get in the tub, put the mattress over you. If you're driving, you're not supposed to stay in your car. You're supposed to get out and go as low as you can in a ditch.
So what they recommend you do if you can is park your car over the ditch and get underneath your car, because the weight of your car will keep the tornado from sucking you out of the ditch. It will take the car first. And but if you can't do that, then in a ditch under an overpass, something over top of you, something for the tornado to eat first.
Or if you ever watch the movie Twister, you just strap your belt to a water pipe and you hold on.
Have you survived any kind of natural disaster? Have you ever been in any kind of tornado alley or hurricane swath or earthquake central or anything like that? Johnny?
He probably went through the big old LA quakes.
Oh, yeah. A number of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty cool. I mean, it's just like a Disneyland e-ticket ride.
That's the one thing that I've never been around a tornado, and I've never been in a hurricane. I think I've been in probably close to a monsoon because I lived in Asia for a little while. But earthquakes, I lived in Italy, and there were earthquakes, and I remember we had a 7.3 magnitude earthquake once.
That's a big mofo.
That is a big mofo.
Yeah.
And I was little, so I was freaking scared. And we're in the house, and of course, the first thing, stand in a doorway, and I'm sure the houses were resistant or whatever. But the one thing that my mom and dad wanted to do was run outside into the open field, and that is what terrified me more than anything, because I was waiting for the earth to open up to swallow me.
It's actually
send me to hell.
Out in an open field with nothing around you is one of the safest places to be in an earthquake.
I understand
but it's also
that.
super cool to watch. I've seen videos of it, and I've heard it described. The earth moves like water.
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
an
it's just
earthquake.
it's in waves. I mean, you
I've
can
seen-
actually see
yeah.
my garage floor go. Whoa.
I've seen trees travel on hillsides, earthquakes and stuff. So yeah, it's very cool. But that's the big thing that scares me, is the earth opening up and sending me right to hell, because that's where I belong.
That's where we all belong, dear. This right here, if you are watching and participating in this mess at all, we have a limo picking us up. The Devil's Got corner offices for everybody.
My very first earthquake was actually when I was visiting here in Vegas.
The big one that
And it
happened in the
was-
early 90s.
No, it wasn't in the early 90s. It was October 17th, because I was here for my birthday. And it was, I don't know, it had to be maybe 15, 16 years ago or so. And it started out somewhere in the desert. So
That
it
was
didn't,
just a little
this was in
one,
the,
too.
Well, that was the first I've ever been
Yeah.
in. And my ex and I, we were in a hotel, and he grew up in California, so he's been through,
Just
the
sleeping
big
through
ones.
it.
Yeah. And so I just remember standing by the door, and I'm going, "What's that noise?" And it sounded like people were running, like a stampede.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, "What's going on?" And he just starts to smile, and I'm like, "What?" And I realize, and I go, "Oh my God, is it an earthquake? Is it an earthquake?" And I started freaking. I'm like, "Get your shoes on. We've got to go outside." And he's laughing. And he's like, No, you stay in. You stay in. And I'm like, "Get in the doorway. Get in the doorway." And I'm in the bathroom like this. And he's sitting on the bed just laughing. And I'm like, "No, just stay here." And then there was a little aftershock. And I'm still I'm in the bathroom just, holding on in the
Earthquakes
doorway.
are scary because it's like they come from the devil himself. They roll up underneath you.
Yeah.
There's no predicting them. There's zero way to predict them. The first time I was conscious for an earthquake, because I slept through the big quake that happened in the 90s here in Vegas. So the first time I was conscious for an earthquake was the second or third time I had met my son's paternal grandparents. So we're at my baby daddy's parents. And I'm out to coffee with his mom or something. And they just had a little tremor. I'm it was probably maybe a 1.2. Nothing even crazy. But everything at that just kind of rattles like you're on a bad train. Everybody else in this coffee shop is completely ignoring the fact that everything around them is moving of its own free will. And I am freaking the fuck out. I've got a death grip on the table. I'm like, "Oh my God, is it going to get worse? Is it going to get worse?" And everyone is laughing at me. I did just what you
I
did.
know that's one of the
Yeah.
fun things about living in California is seeing someone experience an earthquake for the first time.
These motherfuckers were just nothing, just sipping their espresso, eating their biscotti.
I live over by Nellis Air Force Base, and when one of those C-30s or whatever the hell those transport planes are flies low enough to shake
Yeah.
the literal ground,
Yeah, those bitches are heavy.
my stomach clenches, and I'm like, "Shit, is that going to be an earthquake?"
Don't your nipples get hard too at the same time?
It does.
You're I'm so excited, but not in the right way. Please stop.
Inappropriate! Inappropriate!
I guess that's probably the equivalent of a dude getting a boner when he's scared. Like,
I never had that.
Does that
experience.
happen?
yeah, it's actually a common thing.
I think
Dudes
it'd
get
be more
boners
like
when
a dude getting a boner, like if he's in the room with his mom.
Ugh. Well, my kid's 11, and he's basically got a boner from the time he wakes up to the time he goes to bed, and I can't keep him touching it in the living room.
She
is a
has been
problem.
trying. She has been trying. It's constantly. You need to do that in your room. Don't let me
Stop
catch
touching
you.
yourself. I don't care if you touch yourself. Go to your room. Do it on your own time. Not on my time.
Don't you have a story about boners?
I do have a story about boners.
Segway story about boners.
Not really boners, though. It's close. It's about a date. It's
date.
about a Tinder date.
Oh, this ought to be good.
So,
One of yours?
I read. It sounds like it would be. That's what caught my eye on the story. Except with one little exception. You'll know what it is. So, man's Tinder date gets stuck upside down in a window trying to grab her own poo. Who says romance is dead? Here's what happened. This girl, she's athletic. They did mention, I believe she's a gymnast.
I would hope so.
She ended up upside down inside the window after making a valiant effort to get rid of a massive poo she had just done that had blocked the bog. Obviously, it wasn't here. So they had met up for a meal, and afterwards she went back with him to his place for a nightcap.
Girls,
She...
Poo at the restaurant.
poo
You
before
stay and have coffee and poo at the restaurant.
That's right. You call before you dig. You poo before you go.
Sorry, I was about to... Call before you dig, people. All right, so...
Don't ever trust a man's water pressure. That's all I'm saying.
She went to use the bathroom, and it blocked. So in a panic, she picked up the stool, threw it out the window, but it fell down a narrow gap between the windows. She had no choice but to go out to her date, confess it to him, and he bravely helped lower her out the bathroom window into the gap to try and retrieve the poo.
The gap between what?
I believe it's a gap between kind of the houses to try
Just
and
leave it there.
So it must have been wedged out
Just
the window.
Just
a bit.
leave it there. I mean, nobody walks there.
But she got wedged upside down and eventually had to be rescued by firefighters who were called to his house.
Okay, here's the two things that went wrong. Number one, you pooed at his house without first pressure testing the water, which means you pee first. Number two, you should have just left the poo there.
If for some reason you do go to a dude's house and you feel like you have to poo, check to see if there's a plunger in the bathroom. And I always check to see if there's a scrubber in case I do have to poo, because I'm cleaning that fucking toilet because I know my shit leaves streaks. If he has none of those things, make an excuse and go home.
Leave. And you know what? Be like me. Just be honest. I gotta poo,
Well,
and I don't want to poo here, so I'm gonna go.
She did. And then he said, she confessed, and then he said, she climbed head first after her own turd, reached deeper into the window, bagged it up, passed it out over the top and back into the toilet from where it came. Then she called out to help her get back in. Anyway, bottom line, it broke his window, and so he set up a GoFundMe to fix the window that was damaged due to somebody pooing.
She should have paid for the window. I'm just saying. You broke the dude's window because you were trying to retrieve your poo, you little twat.
So
Pay for
don't
the
retrieve
fucking
your
window.
poo. So this is what made me think of it, why it just felt very familiar to me. First off, I'm definitely the person who has those awkward things happen. And so I don't poop anywhere but home.
In my
and
house.
Your bathroom. And only your downstairs bathroom. We're talking to public restrooms. Definitely not a guy's house. Definitely. I once spent the whole weekend at a guy's house, and I'm I'm going to die because I have to poop.
How come you don't do public restrooms? Like any public restrooms?
Yeah, it's bad enough I have a shy bladder, so it's hard to pee in a public place, but I just can't do it.
Like office buildings? And
No, I just can't do it.
Wow.
I will hold it.
I'm going to tell you, I can poop anywhere, anytime. I read a whole book on how to poop in the woods. So I am a skilled shitter.
When I was in college and they had...
that needs to be a hash. I'll write it.
Hashtag skilled shitter.
They had all the stalls. I used to, at first I would like get up at 4 a.m. For a long time I held my poo in the beginning until I went home 2 hours away. But I would stick everything I needed. I'd stick like a can of spray, a magazine, everything down my pants. And I'd like tiptoe in and go to the very last stall. And if anybody came in, I was done. So I had to try and...
You know I'm in there. You walk in.
Yeah, no. So I definitely don't poop at guys' houses. Like it's a thing.
I'm usually very careful at first-time friends' houses,
Right.
and boys' houses, but everywhere else I can poo just fine. And my thrifty ass prefers pooing at a public restroom so I can use their motherfucking toilet paper instead of mine at home.
I believe that established relationships, you should be allowed to poo at each other's homes. If you have a key to another person's home, you now have the key to shit at that person's home.
Maybe if they have a key. Maybe at the point, I obviously don't go to key level. I'm like, that's way too much for me.
She's like, what's your last name again?
Now that I know your last name, it's kind of... But I had been just a kind of a quick thing it reminded me of. So I was seeing this guy, and it was the first time I spent the night at his house, and you remember this individual. But I was really nervous because we had actually waited a really long time to have sex. Like, I don't know, many, many dates. And it wasn't on purpose. We weren't like, hey, we're going to, hold off. It was just circumstantial. So at the point that we, got to it, I was there and I'm like, oh, I have to go use the restroom. And I got in there and I got a little nervous for some reason. And I'm like, we waited so long and, I really like this guy. And, so I'm in there and I'm like, God, I'm nervous. So I texted my friend, Big Cutie Eve. And I'm in there and I'm texting Eve and I'm like, Eve, I'm in this dude's bathroom and I'm actually kind of nervous. And she's texting back and we're texting back and forth. I'm like, so how's your night going? And we're just like, what are you up to? And I'm just in there for a while, like just relaxing and everything. And then I go, oh my God, he's going to think I shit. He's going to think I'm in here pooping. I stayed in here so long. I'm having a full text conversation with her. And so now I'm texting her going, I've been in here way too long. What do I do?
You just flush the toilet and go, woo! I would give that a minute.
I could not do that because I knew when I came out, like it was on, like we were about to get it on, and nobody wants to come out and be like, whoa, that was great. Let's get down to business.
I'm going to tell you that it took me and my Cali guy, it took probably 3 years before I was as normal about poop with the rest of my family as I was with him.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, ooh, I better go to the bathroom.
So I'm in there and I'm panicking and I'm like, how does, like, what, I didn't know what to do. So finally she said, I'm texting you a video. Go out and just say, oh my God, you have to see this hilarious video. I got caught up watching it. So that's what I did. I went out and I tried to play it off.
Was it an episode of Game of Thrones or something?
I don't know. It was stupid.
What the hell I saw a great video.
Have you seen this video?
I saw a great video today of a cat that didn't want to let go of its owner, and it was only like a minute and a half long.
I actually believe it was cats. I believe it was cats. It was like a cat copulation or whatever. Compilation. I keep saying that wrong. And
yeah, you keep saying copulation, which is something totally different.
It's
that
probably
means
how
kittens.
there you go. But I remember like going out and I'm going, I can totally pull this off. And I'm like, hey, you got to check out this video. I was in there. My friend sent it to me. I got caught up watching it. Like I was not shitting in there. I don't think he did. He's like, sure. I mean, I still got laid. Like it still happened.
Well, of course.
guys don't
honestly,
care.
most guys don't care.
The whole,
They're like, you pooped,
not
great.
poop.
It's not going to happen on the bed. That's
Means
good.
it just makes her lighter, right?
That's all. But the whole non-poop, like, it was quickly forgotten about. But I was out there, like, awkwardly, like, I was watching this video in there, and I got caught up. I'm so sorry.
She likes to pretend that she doesn't poop.
Vendetta says, I'm biologically pert bear. I just go where I want. Fun fact.
Yep.
Hashtag fun fact. Jasper, who is watching us from the gym, by the way. Thanks for all your gym videos, Jasper. That's
Spank,
nice
bank.
eye candy for all of us. If you can't stand improvisation and going to the bathroom, don't be a bus driver or off-road truck driver. And then to your story, he says, wow, Toxie.
Good job.
Yeah.
And Vendetta agrees. They don't care. Men don't care whether
Well,
you go
I
on
did.
poop or not.
I was so caught up in it. Like,
They
how
do.
do I get out
They
of
do
this?
appreciate like a warning. Like, don't let them walk in on that unwarned. Like walking into a cloud of mustard gas. At least give a bitch a warning.
And
I think guys should warn girls because guys like to pretend that their shit don't stink, and then they come out and they sit down, and you go in there and it's like, what?
sometimes you don't even have to go in. If they leave the door like open a crack.
Just a crack, and you're like, did you get it on you? My dog does that. Gross.
You know there's Lysol in there, right? Did you see it? I put it right on the counter.
I have 2 cans of Lysol and a bottle of VI poo in my downstairs bathroom. So I should
You do,
never...
which I've used. I can't, the spray I can't use because I can't breathe from the aerosol. And the last
the
time I
little
totally
VI poo.
did
You
it.
put
Yeah,
it in the
that,
toilet.
and then I did
Do
it
you-
as I went out.
Do you know what works amazingly well in the bathroom? I like the smell of it, so that's why I know I belong to the devil. Matches.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Amazingly,
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
clears
I have
all
to
of
do,
that up.
my mom has matches in her bathroom. They're for me.
for you.
I do go at my mom's. That I do go.
You should be
Well,
able to poop at your
yeah, you
parents'
should be
house.
able
and
to
I've
do it at your
actually
house.
routed to my mom's just to go. So, and I'll text
She
her,
has
like,
pooping locations strategically located throughout the entire valley.
I did it to you once. I was out eating, and it wasn't far from your house. And I texted you, and I said, "Can I come by and poop?" And
I was like, yeah. I had a magazine ready for her and everything.
it was like on the counter. You're like, pick your magazine and
Have fun.
I think we'll just call this one the poop show. We don't need any hashtags or anything. Just
Hashtag the poop show.
SinCityBounty the poop show.
So, ladies, the whole point of this is if you are on a date, on a Tinder date,
Don't throw your poo out the window.
throw it out the window.
Jesus fucking.
Put it in your
my
purse and take it home with you.
Oh my God.
Didn't
do you
we have
do?
a
I don't
story on
know.
here about that? Like some chick. This is
I
not
think
the
we
first
did.
first date pooped at some dude's house, had to take it out of the toilet story we've done before. Ladies, we should only do one of these in our lifetime. We've done 2 on this show. This, if you learn nothing else from us,
Oh.
stop shitting at boyfriends' houses.
Vendetta says, worst poop confession. Do you have a worst poop confession?
Me? I have shit myself as a grown adult.
Do you?
She's not going to be able to answer that.
Vendetta's worst poop confession is he was so comfortable with his ex once that he was particularly proud of the weirdness of a poo sesh that he texted her a picture. Rookie mistake.
My sister sends me pictures of my niece's poops all the time. She'll look at how big it is.
My brother
That's
sends
not
me
weird
them
for
of
us.
his own.
Oh,
Still to this day.
So what's your worst poop confession?
You know, mine probably was the non-poop poop.
The non-poop poop.
Non-poop
What's your poop confession?
I don't know if I have a poop confession. I've had turtle head before that I'm sure marked up underwear.
Ah, that's nothing.
Yeah.
No,
very
I
dogging
destroyed an entire pair of shorts. Like, so I'll tell you the story. We got time, I got time. The story's real quick. I had food poisoning. And let this be a lesson to you. Don't trust a fart, even if you feel better. I had felt good for like... yeah, that's right. You almost shit in my car. That's her poo story. So,
Your poo led to her poo?
no, she almost pooped in my car.
Oh.
So I felt better. I hadn't barfed or shit in like a day, so I was feeling good. And I had a little like fart bubble up, and I'm just one of those lean over and rip it out kind of people. I was sitting on the living room on the couch, not in the current living room or current couch. I just lifted my leg up.
The couch.
Not this couch. I lifted my leg up and I just let it rip, and I knew immediately, just because it was like sitting down in wet, warm pudding. And it wasn't like just a little bit. No, it was, I had to shower. Like, it was all down the back of my legs. It was sickness poo.
Lori says, so I doubt I will ever have sex again, but if I do, I will never toss poo out his window.
Please
Good
do
Lord.
not do it, Lori. Please. Or baggie it up and put it in your purse. Just
Poop at the restaurant. Poo before you
Poop
go.
at the restaurant, or I mean, if you reach in, let me ask you something. If you're reaching in to pick up the poo with your hand, or with something else,
Squish it up.
yeah, just
Oh, no, that's worse.
make it like poo soup.
How long do you can flush it?
No,
and then you
no,
wash your hands
no,
really good.
No, bad advice. Bad advice. Stop.
And then-
do not. No,
Then-
no, ladies, do not sit in there and squish your shit. Do not sit in. Please. Do not.
Why?
Do not squish your poo,
Why?
because then you're the Tinder date who squished poo in the bathroom.
Nobody
I'd
will
rather-
know.
You're gone how long? Like you're Play-Dohing it in the bathroom. No, do not be the poo squisher. I would much rather be the woman who got stuck throwing your shit out the window than to have somebody like call me a poo squisher. No, she opens the door.
Wait. Hashtag Pudo.
Seriously, I was thinking of like, I know that Sierra carries around a multi-tool.
No,
She can
Like
slice
she's-
that
like
shit
she's a
up
fucking
like
Boy
it's a
Scout.
kintsugi knife. You know, like it's sushi and shit. Just slice it into
No.
nuggets. Poo
No,
nuggets.
no, oh my god.
One of the upsides to having irritable bowel syndrome and a gallbladder that doesn't exist anymore is I haven't had a solid shit in years.
So you don't need the tool.
No, I don't need a tool.
I do. Mine come out long and curled and yeah.
Occasionally I fill a bowl up, though.
Where are we?
We're at the poo show, y'all.
We're talking about cutting up your poo with a utility knife.
I'm sorry, but
What happened?
there's no way I am hanging out a fucking window trying to get poo that I originally pulled out with my hand anyway and tossed out a fucking window.
Like at the point in which I'm in a guy's bathroom and my choice is to throw poo out the window or cut it up, I'm just leaving.
She's opting for number 3. She's just gonna pick up her purse, not say a shit, not
I'm
think, just
gonna
walk
go.
out the door.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna change my name. I will change it to Toxio Shay. Officially. And I will go. I will disappear.
She's
No.
gonna move to like Alaska and live in a yurt.
That's
Hey everybody,
it.
I'm Alexia,
I'm Toxie.
I'm Sierra.
and we will catch you next week.
If you're brave enough. We're just done.
Later bitches.